Hey guys, well, I should probably just clarify before I begin. This isn't a review. This is just my initial thoughts on the two-parter immediately after I finish watching it for the first time. I haven't really had time to sort of properly take in everything that's happened. I don't have the plot down like to an absolute T. I don't remember every single detail. I will have to watch this two-parter, like 2 or 3 times more really before I can properly conclude whether or not I thought this was a good episode or not. In terms of my initial thoughts, whether or not I enjoyed it, yes, I did. I would just about say that, yeah, I enjoyed it. There's a lot of stuff in there that I had issue with, but there's equally a lot of stuff in there that I really enjoyed. And I think the stuff I enjoyed definitely overpowers stuff that kind of bugged me. So I should probably just say, right off the bat, the two-parter stories that they do for this show, they're not my favourite forms of episodes. I do prefer the sort of regular episodes where they're just sort of living out their normal lives in sort of sitcom kind of format. I'm not a huge fan of these like Narnia, Lord of the Rings type adventures that they go off on these two-parters. I liked in A Canterlot Wedding the way that they kind of mixed up those two elements. It starts out as kind of a regular, just living out their lives kind of thing with it being the wedding, and then becomes an adventure later on. That's really well done there. They don't really do that in this. This is pretty much full adventure from beginning to end here. So, from a personal preference, it's not my favourite form of episode, I would say. So it starts out, we are told that it's some kind of test of Twilight. I don't quite understand the purpose of making it a test, really. I mean, it seems like it's kind of a bit too important. Things are, there's too many important things at stake really for it just to be a measly kind of test kind of thing really. I don't quite understand why it's been set up like that. What exactly, again, this is a detail that, I don't know, maybe is mentioned in the episode and I just missed because I've only seen it once as I record this. What exactly does Twilight gain if she passes this test, and what does she lose if she doesn't pass it? I don't quite understand why they made it a test. We get to see Luna again, which is just nice for the sort of novelty of it, and I think she probably plays a slightly larger role than she played in A Canterlot Wedding when she was sort of phoned in at the very last second. But, it was nice, just to see her there, even though she doesn't really do anything. Really want to see her, another lunar eclipse type episode in this season where she plays a larger role. And actually playing a role in the plot of this episode, of course, Shining Armor and Cadence come back. I've kind of been in two minds about the idea of bringing them back, because on the one hand, it does make sense for Shining Armor to come back because, he's Twilight's brother. On the other hand, I don't really want to see him and Twilight become like the big sort of core relationship of the episode and take the limelight away from Spike. It's all about Twilight and Spike as far as I'm concerned. When, Twilight's just on her own thinking about stuff. I don't want Shining Armor to sort of take over that role. So I wouldn't be surprised if now we don't see Shining Armor for a while. Obviously, with this being, one of the two-parters to start the season, you knew that all of the main six and Spike, had to play sort of relatively large roles. They all kind of get their little moments to shine here and there. We've got Rarity and Pinkie Pie just doing their thing, basically, that makes them just great characters to watch. And that was a lot of fun. That was just added to the comedy brilliantly in the episode. I think Rarity in this episode, is absolutely my favourite thing about this two-parter. Fluttershy, Applejack, and Rainbow Dash are maybe a little bit wasted. Rainbow Dash, to a less extent, she does, come out and just sort of do her sort of pushing people around, sort of not quite sort of grasping the situation kind of thing. And they're all very much sort of in character as you would normally see them. 6 characters are kind of difficult to juggle. An interesting thing, though, that I didn't expect, though, which I kind of liked, but at the same time didn't really like, is the way that Spike and Twilight go off, really, to sort of resolve the situation on their own. It kind of pissed me off in sort of all 3 of the previous 3-parters, the way that Spike doesn't really do anything except sort of stand there around and sort of just observe what's going on. He doesn't really help to do anything to resolve the situation. And obviously here, he's right at the centre of things along with Twilight. He's in the adventure with her, and he's really for the first time sort of showing a bit of loyalty, to Twilight by sort of saying, "Oh, Twilight, I'm not going to let you go off on your own. I'm coming with you, even if you don't actually want me to do anything. I want to be there for moral support." So that was great. That was fantastic. Got to see Spike sort of play a larger role in the sort of momentous climax to the whole thing. At the same time, though, that also means that the other 5 don't really do anything other than sort of try to keep the situation under control. So it's kind of a double-edged sword kind of thing. On the one hand, it's nice to see Twilight and Spike participating in an adventure. On the other hand, it's not so cool to see the other five just sort of standing on the sidelines, not really doing as much. A minor thing that kind of bugged me is, again, maybe this was explained in the episode and I just missed it. I don't quite understand why Cadence has to constantly be the one who's maintaining that force field. Why can Twilight and Rarity not relieve her at some point? I mean, I don't know, maybe the spell is far too advanced for them. I mean, I can understand why it's too advanced for Rarity, but Twilight, knows every spell in the book. Why would she not be able to at least do something to help? I don't know, maybe it's got something to do with her being a princess or what. 3 songs, well, 2 songs in a way. The last one was kind of a reprise of the first one. I liked the We've Got to Get This Right song. That was kind of a catchy little tune. I liked the reprise of I Was Prepared for This, or I Wasn't Prepared for This, whatever you want to call it. I didn't like the original version of it. The lyrics sounded kind of like she was making them up as she was going along almost, and the tune didn't sound very sort of natural. I don't know, it kind of just rubbed me the wrong way, that one. But the reprise at the end, where she's saying I was prepared for this, I like that. That was a much more sort of catchy and sort of more upbeat tune. The villain, if you can even call him a villain, he's more just sort of he's like a disaster in a disaster movie almost. He's just sort of this unstoppable force that you have to find some sort of way to sort of make be gone in some kind of way. He's basically kind of wasted, really. He's not really even a character. He's just sort of there as an unstoppable force that, in much the same way as Discord in The Return of Harmony, is just sort of defeated once they find the MacGuffin and, just use that to defeat him, and there's absolutely no way he can defend himself once they've unmasked the Crystal Heart. I can't even remember, did he have a name? This sort of dark unicorn creature who has cursed the Crystal Empire? I can't even remember, does he have a name? That's sort of how much of a non-character he was. The Crystal Ponies look really cool, by the way. Yeah, really like their design, and I do sort of like the way they just sort of abruptly jump between depressed and upbeat by turning crystal like that. That's pretty cool, that. I did kind of see the ending coming a mile off, which was, Twilight sort of sacrificing herself to save the Empire and saying, oh, Spike, you've got to go and do it yourself because I'm not good enough. And that ending up sort of being the reason why she passed her test. I did kind of see that coming sort of from quite a long way off. That kind of knew that was what was going to happen. I don't think I really want to see Cadence or Shining Armor for a while now. Really, I've kind of gotten a little bit tired of Shining Armor. He comes across as a little bit bland to me. I like his design. I really like Cadence's design. Cadence doesn't really do a huge amount in this episode, but she's maintaining a force field for almost all of it, so maybe that's to be expected. But I don't know, Shining Armor just comes across as a bit bland to me. I don't know. Other than him being Twilight's brother, does he have any kind of real sort of personality? No, I don't think I really want to see the two of them again anytime soon. A couple of interesting sort of new spells that we see in this episode. The anti-gravity spell that Twilight does. That's really cool. And Room 101 reference, sort of almost, with the Twilight going into a room and seeing her worst fear. Again, I did kind of guess as soon as she entered the room that was in her mind. It wasn't real. I did kind of guess that was it was some kind of room with her worst fear in kind of thing. But I like that kind of idea, that Room 101 kind of reference. And I remember thinking, the moment I saw that scene, it's like, oh, well, Spike's going to go down there now, and he's going to see Twilight there, and she's going to tell him she doesn't love him. And that was pretty much it. I freaking called that one. Again, maybe it's not a good sign if I'm able to predict what's going to happen. It's a sign maybe I've been watching this show a bit too much. But cool idea. I did kind of like that. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head that I really have much to say about. I didn't like the idea that it was a test for Twilight. I thought Fluttershy and Applejack in particular were a little wasted in this episode. Rainbow Dash maybe only slightly wasted. I enjoyed Pinkie, I enjoyed Rarity, I enjoyed seeing Twilight and Spike participate in the adventure alone, and I thought it was a pretty cool climax, seeing Spike save the day. That was kind of cool. The villain was wasted. Appearance of Shining Armor and Cadence, while nice, was not anything I got particularly excited about or I found particularly enjoyable. Shining Armor isn't a character I enjoy in any kind of massive way. But the whole kind of adventure of it and seeing them go through this holding this carnival kind of thing and trying to keep it secret that they didn't actually have the crystal heart. That was pretty fun to watch. Yeah, it was made for some very good comedy. Interesting kind of sort of the fate of the world is at stake, but a lot of good comedy in there as well. It was a nice kind of balance they got in there. So yeah, it was a good balance of kind of adventure with comedy in there. So again, I've only seen it once as I record this, so I'm not sure if I'm able to say that this is a good episode, but on first impressions, I would say overall, yeah, the enjoyable bits definitely outweigh the less enjoyable bits by quite some distance. This is an enjoyable episode. I can definitely say that for certain at this point. Whether or not it's a good one, I would have to watch it again a couple of times to be absolutely sure. But initial impressions, pretty good.